DBSCG things.
What's up, Yuhp gang? It's your boy Taxon, and welcome back to Yuhp DBSCG Things, and today we're going over another very exciting topic. Today we're going to be talking about the up-and-coming ban list and my predictions for it. With that being said, guys, if you guys want any custom mats and or sleeves, absolutely check out promats, guys. This is the best place to go get your custom card needs, and if you guys do decide to get a mat from them, make sure you guys use the promo code Yuhp to save on your entire order. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this type of discussion or my content in general, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video, and with that being said, let's turn it around and dive in. Alrighty, you guys, let's go ahead and dive directly into what I believe will be hit and or routed or limited during this next list, which should be coming either this morning or sometime this weekend. It's Friday during the recording of this video, and it didn't drop, so that's why I'm recording this. Might as well take my opportunity to get my predictions out before it comes out. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive directly in. Obviously, starting with blue here because blue's been the most dominant, and we got to figure out a couple things within blue that can slow the color down. So starting off with Majin Buu, Agents of Destruction. Guys, this card has been talked about with many formats worth of ban predictions. This card has been a nuisance for a very long time. Double strike blocker, he attacks, he can block, he can stop another attack on top of his block, he can draw cards, he can untap energy. This card does it all. Reasoning on why it needs to go is because it's too generically good for blue. The reason I say that is because Bandai likes to ban a lot of cards for that reasoning when it comes to their deck building reasons. Like, this card's getting banned because we want to open up the viability for other options in decks. Like that's what they always write with their stuff. So that's what I'm going to say is probably going to happen. And if they don't hit it, it's probably because they're going to let it sit around for a couple more formats and see what the introduction of this unison remove that they've been adding will do with this card. Because obviously they just added that Gohan that for green just essentially gets rid of this card in one attack. Obviously you got secret rares like Beaston, Kai. There's a lot of unison removal now. Red has a bunch of nagging effects that will just knock markers off this based on any minus basically that's over 20k. So essentially, I think that the card will stick around for another format or two, just for Bandai to see if their unison removal or unison hate that they're adding is going to affect this card enough. But also, like I said, for the reasoning of it being too generically good, and Bandai might just want players to move on to a different unison and start experimenting with different deck building options, I do think it could go for that same reason. Let me know what you guys think about that card in the comments below. Moving on to our next card, we have Android 17 Turning the Tide. Everyone knows this card. This card has been yet another blue card that has been talked about on many ban list predictions. This card does have a couple answers in terms of like that Jiren card that just says you don't get to put cards back into your deck based off your opponent's skills. So there is answers to this card, but I mean, like, back when Fu Shrouded and Mystery got hit, there was answers to that card as well. So, in my opinion, this card should go. It's a little too powerful in the way the format is right now, being so blue and yellow heavy. It's definitely seeing late games where this card definitely shines, and you definitely get to see what it does. Especially paired with Beaston, this card does a lot. Like, you can just, if you get to a point in your deck where you're at 10 energy, or you're at a deck, you're playing a deck that just untaps energy, you can literally just go 2 for Gohan, burn you a life, tap out for 17, and between 17 and Gohan, you're going to do a total of 5 damage. Like, with 0 interaction, which is just absolutely crazy. Like, you play Gohan, you do a burn damage, you play 17, you put everything back into the deck, and then from there you go 17 attack, Gohan attack, both of them on tap, 17 attack, Gohan attack. And then from there you got 4 crit attacks and a burn damage in. So in my opinion, yeah, this card is a little bit too powerful to stick around for any longer, and there's, like, being that it has deflect, and like if you don't run Jiren, you just lose this card immediately. I think that this card definitely should go in the same reasoning that they did to Fu Shrouded and Mystery. It's just one of those late game bosses that should not be this strong. This is like secret rare level strong right here. So in my opinion, if you're playing a card that's going to come out and just say I won the game, it should say secret rare and ultimate on it as well. With that being said, let me know what you guys think about Android 17 Turning the Tide. Obviously, I made it clear that I do not like this card. I think it should go. Next up, guys, we have SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Super Warrior. I love this card a lot, and I have been a big fan of the SS4 Vegeta archetype in ramp deck for a very long time. But as I've been playing more and more blue and versing more and more blue, I've came to realize just how degenerate this card is without God Seal in the format anymore. So essentially, especially with Blue Beerus being the best ramp deck right now, Beerus can get to 8 energy just by using its Z card by like turn 5. And then on turn 5, being at 8 energy, you just go tap 6, I play Vegeta. Oh cool, no response because you're playing blue too? I thought so. Now I'm going to ramp 4. I'm back at 6 active energy. I'm going to tap those 6 again. Play this guy once again, ramp 4. As long as at some point I had my Secret Rare in my hand and those 2 cards, I like Exodia win the game from turn 5. Like, that in my opinion is way too strong. You should not just be able to go from 8 energy to 16 energy and then untap it all and just win with Beerus. Like that's in my opinion, that's crazy. This card in general, just because it's so generically good, it can go into any future blue Saiyan ramp deck. It doesn't even have to be a Saiyan, honestly. Just I say Saiyan because like if it's a Saiyan leader, it'll probably be searchable within the deck because of 1-drop searches and whatnot. But in all honesty, if you're just a blue ramp deck, this card is a very, very good thing that's going to get you to your win con. Especially with Beerus having a secondary win con. Like, you can win via battle cards and attacks, or you can just win via just tapping 16 energy and Hakaiing your opponent to oblivion. Essentially, I'm just going to stop rambling about the card and tell you what I think should happen to it. I don't want to see this card go because I love the SS4 Vegeta, so this is obviously a little bit biased. I think it should be errata to be played only for, like, make it so that the leader says, if your leader card is a mono blue SS4 Vegeta GT, like, or Vegeta GT, whatever it is, make it to where it's locked to that leader and that archetype so that that archetype's not losing its ramp. Like, yeah, the leader ramps, but if you just play against that deck the way that players played against Crimson during Worlds, that deck does nothing because you're negating all of its attacks, you're getting out of all of its attacks, and it's not landing any damage, so it's not ramping. If you take this from it, it's definitely not ramping. So, with that being said, other ramp decks have like ramp generically in their deck without this card. Like Beerus can play its ramp stuff just if it runs 4 copies of this Whis in its deck, which means you ramped 4 energy throughout the game, and you're gonna do something at some point. So that's definitely a thing. Like, if you take this card away, Vegeta loses all ramp. So, in my opinion, errata this card to where it only plays for SS4 Vegeta. But in Bandai's opinion, I think they're either going to straight up ban this card, or they're going to limit it to 1 so that blue in general doesn't lose like its good ramp piece. So, with that being said, that's what I think about SS4 Vegeta, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Next up, the last blue card that I want to talk about. Son Goku Crimson Warrior. This was definitely coming up. We all seen this coming. This card has been over, and I'm not being dramatic at all, this has been over 50% of all decks played at every event for like the last 4 months straight. Basically, once Gogeta and Sin Shinron started taking over the meta, this card popped up, or this deck popped up in one event, and then from that event forward, it proceeded to be the most played deck in every event. Bandai went out of its way to try to errata this leader and make it a little harder to awaken. It did not affect the deck at all. The deck still has very good self-awakening, and within the Z deck now, you always have self-awakening. So if you're ready to awaken and you need to awaken, it's going to happen. So in my opinion, the errata did nothing to this card, and the deck was still very, very oppressive. In my opinion, the best thing to do to this leader is outright ban it. And I know that's something Bandai's not going to want to do, but the deck needs to go. The reason I say this is because without just getting rid of the leader, you'll have to get rid of so many good blue things and make those blue things not generically blue no more. And then blue in general is just not playable because we lost too many tools because Crimson was too powerful. So in my opinion, I think Crimson should go so that we don't have to lose too many good blue things. Like, I don't want to have to lose Realm of the Gods, Beerus Destroys. I don't want to lose UI Kamehameha. I don't want to lose Piccolo the Infiltrator. I don't want to lose my good blue staples because this leader's around. I'd rather just lose the leader and play those good blue staples on a different blue leader. So with that being said, I think that the card should just be banned. And because the card got errated already, I do think that Bandai will do the same, especially after seeing the World's premiere. He had a 50% Crimson showing at Worlds. So out of 8 players, 4 of them were playing Crimson, and then the other 4 people were playing decks that could beat Crimson. Next up, now we are done with blue, we're going to go ahead and dive directly into yellow. For yellow, I didn't have too many things that I thought needed to get hit. I have like one that I think needs to get hit, and then one that I have a feeling will get hit based off what Bandai's been doing recently. So first off, the one that I think is going to get hit is Swift Retaliation Cooler. This card is not like crazy busted by any means. I'm going to straight up say that. The only reason I think that this card will go is because yellow's getting to a point where it's like really based off high attacks. We can see that through the Gohan secret rare that just makes any one of your attacks just massive. You can see that through a bunch of the old yellow leaders that have been coming out that are basically making it so that your leader attack can get really, really big. Like Trunks Vegeta per se, your leaders can be 25 double strike at any point in the game whenever you want to do that. Spirit Bomb Vegito deck that makes your leader really, really huge at some point in the game. Swift Retaliation Cooler is definitely going to make it so that attack can go through. Same thing with the new structured deck Majin Vegeta deck. If you manage to get your opponent to like a double strike range and you just swing leader, you basically just win the game because you just go counter, activate battle, take myself to 1, I'm 35 double striking, and I can still combo Piccolo Gohan and all this other stuff from my hand. So with that being said, I think that this card will go because I think that they're trying to make it so that yellow is based off just once I get to the combo step I win, not just like I'm gonna force you to the combo step and then I win. Like, so another good reason why I think that this card should go is because not every color has options like this. Like, I get it, Supreme Kai Time just got one, so like black has one, but like black doesn't have one. Like Supreme Kai has one. And then also we have like blue has Baby Ape. I don't think that card should go at all, just because that card's so expensive and it takes a while to set up. Like, you got to see 5 energy to make that happen. For this, you just got to see 3, and you got to have a good attacker on field, which yellow tends to have a bunch of. So with that being said, Cooler, I personally think might get hit, but I don't think Bandai will get rid of this card just yet. I think what Bandai will end up doing is, like, just because they just now introduced a counter for Supreme Kai, I think they're going to end up like slowly adding counters in for just about every color and or a playable archetype. So with that being said, Swift Retaliation Cooler, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, if you guys think that this card should go or if it should just be banned or limited. That's another thing. I keep forgetting to mention that, guys. This could get limited to 1 and make it so that people can't be playing 3, 4 copies of this card in their deck to guarantee see it by a certain turn. So that's definitely something they could do, make it yet another yellow secret rare. Next up, we have Vegeta Prideful Transformation. I know, this is crazy. It's off the wall. This is the one that I was going to bring up just because it's something that I feel like Bandai's going to end up doing based off what they've already been doing. So in case you guys don't know what Vegeta Prideful Transformation is, this is essentially the yellow counterpart to God's Healing Technique and also Yamcha Merciless Barrage. It's a free play if you have a unison and play with 2 or more markers on it. It does something to a card being played and then it plays itself as a blocker. So essentially the card being played gets played in rest mode. The card's free. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up, is it's a free counterplay. As of right now, Bandai's putting us into a position where every counterplay in the game costs some amount of energy. Blue's being put into a predicament where they have to, like, they're adding things like desperate measures in their deck. I mean, it costs 1, don't get me wrong, it's pretty cheap and it's pretty easy to do, but they're adding things like that into their deck so that they have a counterplay for certain cards that could affect their matchup, and it costs 1. That's the important part to know. This card is free. So with that being said, the way they just got rid of God's Healing Technique and then they also limited Yamcha Merciless Barrage down to 1, I think they'll do one of the two to this card as well. Either limiting it to 1 or banning the card outright, because free play is free play. And at the end of the day, I do kind of believe that at some point of the Zenkai series, maybe not set 3, maybe not set 4, whatever it is, at some point of the Zenkai series, I do think that what they will do is add a counterplay that's free, quote, 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 based off how many Z energy you have. Like, we see cards like Rose for blue, and then we have Android 17 for blue as well, that their skills proc if you have 3 or more Z energy, right? So in my opinion, that's where I think that Bandai's going to go with this. They're going to get rid of all the Unison free play counterplays and kind of give us Zenkai free play counterplays. That's my prediction on that. I do think that this card will go. Maybe not during this ban list, but sometime in the future. Next up, moving out of yellow, we're moving into red. We got Omega Shenron Merciless Negativity, and just to get it done a little bit quicker, we're going to talk about SS4 Gogeta, the Ultimate Fusion at the same time. Both of these cards are Z leaders. both of the decks in general are pretty good, but I think what makes the decks super powerful are these Z leaders. So let's talk about Omega Shenron first. He's a free 20k double strike Z leader. That's like, just saying free before that sounds crazy. Free 20k double strike. Cool thing to note about this is that you can go ahead and swing with your Unawoken leader, not force, but trick your opponent into not negating, and then make your leader a double strike during that battle, which is actually really strong. I think that this card doesn't need to go. Red, especially Sin, just hasn't been giving us the showings necessary to actually give a good reason to ban it. So what I think will happen to this card, if anything happens to this card, is they'll just add a tax to it. Like the Z Awaken, everything the same except for one specified red next to Z Awaken. That's literally what I think will happen. Just make him cost a little bit more. His costs to get him out there are relatively cheap in comparison to other red Z leaders. Let's take a look at Son Goku, the Ununited Onslaught. This guy costs one red, and then you have 1 Z energy, and then 3 of your Z energy go underneath him. So you have to have 4 Z energy, 1 red energy, and that's too complicated. That's too complicated. Same thing with the Android 13. You got your life's got to be at 4 or less. You gotta pay 1 Z. You gotta be at 4 or less. You gotta pay 1, and you have to have 2 Z energy. That's three different things you gotta make sure is going on. With this one, it's just like I gotta have 7 and get myself to 3. That's crazy. So with that being said, Omega Shenron. Before I ramble for too long, I think he just needs to have the 1 red specified added to his cost. So a quick little errata on him, and that's what I think is all he needs. Let me know what you guys think will be done for Omega Sen. Next up, we have the Z leader for SS4 Gogeta. This one is going to be simple and straightforward to tell you guys what I think should happen to this card. Essentially, this card, in my opinion, is a lot better defensively. If you're not using it on your opponent's turn, but using it and then going into your opponent's turn as 100k while your 8-drop's still on field, I think that is crazy. I think what they need to do to this card is just make it so that you can't use this awakening skill on your opponent's turn. Make it so that instead of just Z awaken 4 or less life, all your energies in rest mode, skip your charge phase, yada yada, make it say all of that, including if it's your turn, so that your opponent, when they're going against this deck, if you as the Gogeta player did not Z awaken on your turn when you dropped your 8-drop or whatever you did, if you didn't Z awaken during that turn, you don't have the option to trick your opponent into comboing their whole hand and just being yeah, I'm 100k now. So make that, in my opinion, an offensive skill only, offensive timing based skill only, and this deck will be a little bit more nurtured or neutered than what it is now. So that's basically all I could think that will actually make this deck. This card already has a lot of restrictions on it. You got to be at 4 or less life. All your energies got to be tapped. You got to skip your charge phase. You do so much already to get to the Z leader, but it's still so powerful just based off it being 100,000. So like I said, best thing in my opinion that you can do to actually stop this card is make it on your turn only, so that your opponent doesn't have to worry about you just randomly using this and basically saying, oh, well, he's tapped out on my turn. I can't swing in. I can't go for game because he'll just use a Z leader and then basically say no. So with that being said, leave it in the comments below what you guys think will happen to Gogeta or Sin. Both of these cards, I don't think anything's going to happen to either of them. I just felt like bringing them up so that I'd have a little bit more topic of discussion and tell you guys what I think could happen to them. So those are my options. 1 red energy on Omega Shenron, and then make it so it's your turn only on the Awaken for Gogeta. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, what you guys think about that. Next up, the only card that I'm going to talk about for green, Frieza Charismatic Villain. I know I'm talking about a card in green for the ban list. I know it's crazy. But for the same reasoning I already gave you for SS4 Vegeta Prideful Transformation, I'm going to give you the same explanation for this one. I think Bandai's just getting rid of all of their free unison, I can't talk right now. All their free unison counterplays. I think they're just getting rid of them all. I think what they'll do is limit 1 to the weaker ones and then straight ban the stronger ones. So as we already seen, we got limit 1 to Yamcha and then ban to Godseal. What I think they'll do is limit the Yamcha, ban the Godseal, limit the prideful transformation and then ban Frieza. The reason I give that that type of explanation is because I personally thought and still think that on the release of these, Frieza and Godzilla were the best ones. Those were the best counterplays. So obviously, if they're gonna hit some of them for real, and get rid of them completely, it's gonna be Frieza and Godzilla. So I do think Frieza does deserve the ban, while at the same time I do think that, or I don't think it deserves the ban, well I think it will get the ban based off of what Bandai's doing. And then also same thing with prideful transformation. That's either gonna get limited to one or outright banned. I could see it not getting fully banned, but we'll see. Frieza, I don't want to see it go, but it's definitely possible. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I know it's green. I know green is not great by any means. It doesn't need to be touched at all. But Bandai just might. They just might, because it's a free play, and Bandai does not like free play for some reason. So that's definitely a thing that could happen. Next up, the only card that I'm bringing up for black is actually a new card, and I feel weird bringing this up because it's so new. We have Son Goten challenging the Dark Empire. Now I know this is crazy because this card is leader locked to Supreme Kai based off both of its effects, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because basically the same reason they got rid of thwarting. You can do this card upwards to 3 times in one turn. Like you can if you're playing this, well, you have to be playing the Supreme Kai leader to play this card. I get bullied by Supreme Kai all the time when I'm testing with my buddies. So like I've came into situations that this card just does way too much for what it is. So essentially, being you're playing Supreme Kai, you get 2 overwhelms per turn and then all your energy to play with and make free attackers, right? So let's just say we're on turn 2 with Supreme Kai. We use one energy to play our units, and now we have 1 energy left, right? We can go overwhelm for a big overwhelm, go 10, right? We'll draw a card in that process, so we don't lose any cards from hand, and we played a 25k double strike. We can swing with that, whatever, cool. Set up for another overwhelm and drop this go 10 again. He draws again. Now you have 2 25k double strikes in field that you didn't lose no hand advantage from. And then, if during one of those overwhelms you had one of these cards in the drop area, you can use the activate main, limit 1. For 1 energy, you can play this card from the drop area. Now you don't get the draw because you don't play him from the hand, or you can play him from the warp, I apologize. You don't get the draw because he doesn't play from hand, but that is your 3rd copy of the same card in 1 turn. In my opinion, this card doesn't need to get banned. In my opinion, it's really, really good for Supreme Kai, and I think Supreme Kai needs this, but I do not think that this card should be something that should be seen in the field 3 times in 1 turn, especially if you're only going to be paying 1 energy for 3 25k attackers, especially if they're double strike. Like that's crazy. Especially in a deck like Supreme Kai where everything's free and you can keep these cards around and then just follow it up with things like thwarting. Like, that's crazy. That's 4 25k double strikers. 1 gets rid of a card. 2 of them drew cards. It's just absolutely crazy. So in my opinion, this card does not need to get banned. It does not need to get limited. What this card needs is the keyword skill unique, so that you cannot play many of these cards in 1 turn. I do like this card, and I think it does a lot for what Supreme Kai needs to do, but I think that it itself, for the same reason Gogeta Thwarting got hit, needs to get hit for that same reason. It's putting out too much too early for what the deck does. Now, obviously, the activate main limit 1 does have energy restriction, but the overwhelm doesn't. So as long as we get 6 in our drop, this guy comes out. Not really a big thing in the early game, but late game when you get a bunch of these established, it does become quite annoying. So in my opinion, the only black card that I felt need to get talked about was Son Goten challenging the Dark Empire, and what I think should happen to him is the unique tag. With that being said, that are all of my predictions. Let me know what you guys think about my predictions in the comments below. I know this was a little bit longer video. I kind of was rambling a lot, just talking about like ideas and reasonings. But with that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this type of content, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, we will see you guys next time.